Ukrainian forces are reportedly even further into Kursk. Just how much damage control is Russia doing, not just on the battlefield, but in the information space as well? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of information that we're trying to piece together about this Ukrainian incursion into Kursk. But a couple of interesting little details. The first of which I thought was this leaked Telegram post from a Russian unit describing Ukraine using a new tactic in its efforts to roll back Kursk. They are reportedly fielding a new type of what the Russians are calling Ranger units. You may know that in the U.S. military, Ranger units are some of the premier direct action light infantry units, ostensibly part of the special operations community and certainly capable of those type of roles, but Ranger units do their best work, again, as a premier light infantry. Now, these units are trained purportedly. What they're doing is entering a Russian-held area in Kursk, first with UAVs, a specialty type of UAV that exclusively targets aircraft. This may even be a part of the videos that we've seen already coming to us from the front lines of UAVs, Ukrainian UAVs taking out like Russian helicopters. So there might be the skies getting cleared of Russian UAVs. Then under fire cover, the electronic warfare jammers enter basically on the front line. So the electronic warfare comes in, so they clear the drones. Then the jammers come in so that the drones cannot be redeployed. And then the Ukrainians deploy their own UAV swarms. Mavics, they say, use non-standard range-shifting boards, which you guys know from the reporting that we've heard that there's a huge cat and mouse game between detecting what frequencies the drones operate on and what frequencies the jammers will jam. And the drones are always trying to stay one step ahead of the jammers. The issue is it sounds like what they're describing, a drone with a new circuit board that cycles around a wide range of frequencies, meaning that if your jammer is set to jam frequency X or X to Y, well, the drone may spend only a few seconds of every minute in that range, right? And so this kind of leaping around different frequencies is a little tougher to execute, but if done successfully, seems like it should be able to thwart a lot of EW, electronic warfare, countermeasures. Then, under this barrage of high-precision drones, the Russian forces are reporting that they get ground down by FPV drones, and then finally, the attrited trenches are cleared by squad-sized elements for 4 to 6 hours under continual UAV coverage, and then the line of electronic warfare is brought forward and the whole pattern is run again. This would be a really interesting shift. The biggest two shifts are clearing drones, clearing enemy drones, and establishing your own highly localized air superiority. That would be a really fascinating change. And of course, combined with the technology of frequency hopping drones. Those two things would be huge. And it makes sense that if Ukraine has this new tactic and new drone tech, that they're not going to reveal it until it's going to be used to maximum effect, right? The element of surprise is real. Anyway, if you guys are interested in seeing some of the footage from the fighting in Kursk, that is available. It just dropped today on combatvetnews.com. You can become a member and support this channel, right? You guys know that I'm not beholden to anyone. I don't work for a major media outlet. I don't take money from, I mean, at this point, I don't even get that many sponsors. I had Ground News this month. That's about it. So I depend on you guys to keep me independent, able to cover things in an unbiased way. Plus, YouTube won't let me show combat footage anymore. So I put that on combatvetnews.com, right? We just dropped this video where we saw that drone, that Ukrainian drone, take out the Mi-8 helicopter, as well as Russia's efforts to use kind of their cruise missiles and sort of everything in the kitchen sink to try to stop this Ukrainian invasion. But if you want to support me, again, any one of these tiers will do it. You can also submit questions if you're lieutenant tier and above to the weekly Q&A that just dropped, where we talked about the Russian economy. We talked about the U.S. change in administration, and all kinds of questions that you guys had. And of course, the Colonel tier members, you know I appreciate you guys so much. Give you the shout out by name at the end of every single video. So check us out, combatvetnews.com. Link is in the description. Okay, so let's take a look. Here is some of the maps sort of trying to tease out where Ukrainians are currently operating. You can see here that they look like they're actually moving along two key routes towards this large nuclear power plant. And I'm trying to sort of triangulate things here, but you can see that already there's reportedly a fair amount of advantages that Ukraine has enjoyed. One is that purportedly in Sudza, they are trying to encircle Russian forces. And remember, these are Russian conscript forces, so they're way, way less prepared, way less experienced. Their commanders likely just way less capable. And so this encirclement seems dangerously close for those Russian conscripts. But you also have a bunch of other things, right? Purportedly, Ukrainian raids ranging a long way. Russian telegram channels reporting afternoon clashes in this BK village. So, there's these confirmed advances, but man, it looks like the probability is fairly high that there's even more. And as we have talked about here, I think this is actually the nuclear power plant. So you could see, right, keep that sort of in your mind. When you look at the scale of this operation, it's actually quite considerable. If they can make it, it looks like they're around, I'm going to say 15%, maybe 10% of Kursk Oblast is controlled right now by the Ukrainians. If these ranges are true, it'll soon be closer to 15 or 20%. So a really, really pretty large shift. And you can see again, if Ukrainians can get to this power plant in Kursk, it'll represent the largest probably single change in territory since the fall of Avdiivka, right? You guys can see here, this has been really since almost October, so almost a year of Russian efforts here since they've been trying to take Avdiivka and then continue this Donetsk push. And now you're seeing, again, in just a few days, Ukrainians stage a comparable level of advance. So potentially a huge deal, but here's where things get kind of interesting, right? One is that, yeah, there's definitely a lot of reports. Again, different reports saying different things, but it looks a lot like the Ukrainians are trying to get to this nuclear power plant here, which again would make sense because in subsequent negotiations, right, Ukrainians holding key Russian infrastructure is going to give them a huge negotiating advantage when it comes time to negotiate for peace, right? It's way easier to get back something like Crimea or other areas when you say, listen, if you want Kursk back, you have to give us our stuff back. It's unfortunately, sometimes tit for tat is exactly the way to go, right? If someone says, hey, you have my stuff, I have yours, let's just give each other our stuff back and call it good, right? Up until this point, it's been Russia holding Ukrainian territory hostage, but Ukraine doesn't really have that many sticks other than threatening to continue the war. So there's also reports of Ukrainian helicopters operating over Kursk, but let's see if I can pull this up here. I wanted to show you guys one of the more interesting things here, and that is what I think is a Russian influence operation taking place on Twitter. So here you search for Kursk. Now I'm going to go to latest, and I'm going to cross my fingers so I can get this blurred out because I want to show you guys this. One, note here, okay, Kursk. Now look at this, a random account, and look at this. It says a button that says show. It says content warning, author flag this post. It's a screenshot from Twitter, but look at this. Look in the bottom left corner. It's not. This is the image. They want you to click on it, and it takes you to some kind of other link, pr.app.link/PHAI. In fact, when we go to let's see if we can do inspect element, right? You can see that there's something weird here, that this is actually an image taken, right? The source is actually an image itself taken from PBS. But then it links to something else entirely. It's hard to figure out what exactly that is. But again, it's some sort of referral link to app.link says PHAI. So there's some sort of scheme here, right? And this is, again, the tag of the actual, an actual footage that we've seen, which is Russian soldiers surrendering. As we scroll down, you can see, again, this is the latest things that have the word Kursk in it. Here's a different one. Again, app link. This looks like a bit.ly. And you can see here, this is interesting because it's the same tag. It clearly is not from Twitter. It purports to be a 43-minute long video, but again, it's a link. When you click on it, it takes you to another link shortening app. And it's a salacious claim that's kind of pro-Russian. A Ukrainian journalist have relayed to something. There have been several recent incidents of desperate soldiers turning their weapons on their commanders while desertions of soldiers at the front are growing. Seems not that likely, right? But then you scroll down, you can see there's even some of these are pro-Ukrainian updates. There's a variety of updates, but you can see there's also a bunch of stuff. Again, another one of these fake content warnings in different languages. And this is likely just sort of putting out spam. Again, these are all fake, guys, by the way. I've actually, they got me at first, right? I clicked on it and I was like, where's the video? And then I realized it wasn't. It was getting me to click a link that was blocked pretty quickly. But you can see here, there's also another one of these fake links again. And this is looks like a screenshot from maybe an adult film. So you can see that there's something going on with Russia or someone trying to spam these kinds of links on Twitter. It's really bizarre stuff, guys. Again, don't click on them. I did. They're fake. All of these are fake. You can see this is, again, something clearly from a screenshot from an adult film where, again, if I were to click on it, it would take me to a link shortener. You can see to the left here, bit.ly/adsu. It's a link shortener. So it doesn't even tell you where it's going, but it's, again, some kind of scheme, but it only shows up on tags like Kursk. If you look for example, here's a different here's Watergate, another trending tag. But you can see there's nothing like this here. None of these fake videos, none of these content warning stuff. This is unique to the hashtag Kursk. So a really interesting sign, I think, of a growing Russian information operation trying to sort of prevent, I think, panic, actually, in the Russian public. And to try to simply to the point where Russia can't damage control this situation. It's really bad. So they're just trying to obscure it, hide it, bury it, and literally hack the people that are viewing it. So anyway, guys, that's all I had. Huge thank you to our Colonel tier members, including Bill Collier, Robin Colburn, Gaius Marning, Eugenia Cuesta, Chris Gorsuch, and Fran Zacharias, as well as all our Lieutenant tier members. Please check out combatvetnews.com. It's in the description, and you can see that uncensored combat footage, and of course, support me and keep me independent. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.